If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles and have an auto warranty about to expire or no warranty coverage at all, listen up. CarShield has a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that covers more parts than ever. Visit carshield.com/audio to find out how you could pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Get your free quote today at carshield.com/audio. That's carshield.com/audio.
WBSM presents The Tim Weisberg Show, streaming live on WBSM.com and the WBSM app. Call 508-996-0500. Send us app chat messages and open line voicemails using the WBSM app. Now, The Tim Weisberg Show.
Welcome back in. Hour number 3 of the program here on Friday on International Women's Day. Happy International Women's Day to everybody out there. And we were talking earlier this morning. We've been talking about the State of the Union address. We've been talking about Katie Britt's Republican response to it. We're also talking about Mayor Mitchell's response to the election issues. If you missed the interview with Chris McCarthy with the weekly Midweek with the Mayor segment from South Coast Now, it is available via podcast. It's also in the story about the mayor's comments at WBSM.com and on the app. I know normally the mayor is here on Wednesday, but because of his travel this week, it was shifted to Thursday. So if you missed it, it's available there for you to listen to, or you can read the story and see his comments there. But he called what happened unacceptable, and that he apologized to the people who were inconvenienced. And he said that as the person who appoints the Board of Election Commissioners, that he is ultimately responsible for what happened, but that the city solicitor's office will be conducting an investigation and will give us a report when they have their findings. It might take a little while, but they'll make that report public so that we will know what went on. And as I said, the elections office, anybody that wants to come on and talk with us just about the procedure, you don't have to get into all of what went wrong, but people have questions about the procedure. People have questions about what is it that happens on the day of Election Day, or the day before getting ready for it, or during the course of the day. Who brings the ballots over? Who is responsible for making sure the ballots are there? How do you determine how many ballots are brought to each precinct? What happens if a precinct does run out of ballots? Who is responsible for getting more and bringing them over there? These are the questions that people have, because this has always been the behind-the-scenes part of the process that we didn't need to know. We just wanted to show up on Election Day and eat the sausage. We didn't want to know how it was made. We didn't need to know how it was made. But now the questions are there because of what happened. And so just the process and the procedure is what people are interested in. And as I said, we've been hearing that there was a caller who said he called the election office and mentioned what we said about the ballots not being there. And the person said that WBSM doesn't know what they're talking about. Well, obviously we did. There was also reports that people in that office thought we were just picking on them. That's not the case, at least not for me. So if you're not comfortable coming on the radio station, or if the mayor doesn't want you to come on the radio station, I understand, he's responsible for he doesn't want department heads just conducting interviews. He wants things to go through his office. And if he's not comfortable having someone from the Election Commission come on, okay, make a video, put something out on social media that addresses these issues, and then we can talk about it here, or we can play it on the air, or whatever. It's not us that wants to know. Take WBSM out of it. I mean, yes, we want to know, but it's the callers who are calling in and asking these questions. The voters, the citizens, they're the ones that want to know. We're just a place where they can voice those concerns and where we can speak on their behalf. So take a little time out of your day, make a quick little video, post it up there, and we will share that information to make sure that people have those questions answered ahead of the fact that there is going to be a report on what happened. 508-996-0500. Good morning. You're on WBSM.
Hey, Tim. How you doing this morning?
Good. How are you, Tom?
Well, I'm thinking of solutions. And one of the things I had mentioned yesterday is since the police department is under the jurisdiction of the city, which is different than the election commission and the election commissioner, who are sort of isolated from any changes, if you will, without the direction of the mayor. I think the legislative branch in city council has a role to try to find a solution in this. I heard the councilor come on yesterday and was expressing the fact that, you really can't do anything about the election commission and the commissioner. That they're sort of insulated and are under the direction of the mayor. However, police department is under the jurisdiction of the council. And since there's a police officer at every precinct, I think they could write an ordinance which would expressly state that whoever works the polls from the police department has complete jurisdiction of opening and closing the doors at every precinct. And the protocol that's supposed to be in place on what they receive at each precinct, he would be like the second check on that. The precinct election commission captain has the first part of that, but he can be like the double checker, so to speak, to ensure that everything is in every precinct. And he's authorized not to open the doors until that is done. And I think that would help straighten out a lot of things. Well,
I'm going to ask you this, Tom, because of your experience being in elected office. You would know better than I. But are there state rules that they're following, and that's what's going on? And can the city make these ordinances that would work with the state rules for it? Because I know the state rule would supersede.
Yeah, it supersedes as far as the election commission and the commissioner and what they are authorized to do under any administration. What I'm saying is there's a slice here where the police department comes under city council. I mean, they have to vote for their budget. They can recommend things to the police department in various different situations. And I think by ordinance, they could create a scenario where on election day, they have the authority, as I just previously expressed. Maybe it will get challenged, and that would be interesting in and of itself. I don't think it would be. I think this is a solution that the council, as a legislative branch, can look at.
I also have the feeling that the council is going to be asking for someone to come before them and give more answers here before we even get the city solicitor's report on what happened. I think the council is going to have a role in that, too, in trying to investigate what happened.
Yeah, what you have to understand also, and this is for the public, the people that work in that office, you don't want to start friction between them and the commissioner. I understand where they have to take a step back. But the fact of the matter is it's the girls in that office that have run the show. If somebody screwed up along the line, it wouldn't be the people in the office. It would be the people that have been hired to do a job under the protocol. I have great respect for the women in that office. And I think in the event the commissioner is asked to leave, that maybe the mayor could raise up one of them who's been there for an extended period of time, who knows all the ropes, and appoint that person as the new election commissioner.
All right. Well, thank you for the call, Tom. You have a great weekend.
All right. You too. Bye.
Take care. And if you want to call in, 508-996-0500. Let's go to Lamone in Las Vegas. Good morning, Lamone.
Hey, what's up, Playboy? I'm the volunteer mayor today, so I'm accepting all your questions. So anything you'd like to know, ask me about it.
You are not only in this city, you're not even in this state. So,
I don't know how does that matter with answering your guys' questions? Right? If I was volunteered to be that individual. So I have a question. Did you see the book picture I sent you with Muhammad Ali versus Superman?
No, I don't think so.
I sent it to you on your Facebook. It's it's my favorite comic book. Okay, it's Muhammad Ali versus Superman. There, it's a wraparound folder page on the cover to the back, and it's got hundreds of celebrities in the audience. Oh, now, mind you, think from 1978 and back, so those that were alive back then. Yeah, and I'll give you the first one. Under Superman's left boot is Jimmy Carter. So that's the first one. So I was hoping can you check it right now?
I just looked. It looks like the image didn't go through. I see the message about it, but I don't see the image itself.
That's preposterous. Okay, I'll have to send it again. Sorry. Yeah, you look at it, it's a great list of a great group of people. You're like, damn, that's off the hook.
Be like the Sgt. Pepper album where you're trying to figure out who everybody is.
Far more superior than that.
Wow.
And the Sgt. Pepper album wasn't all that good either. You know, there was some songs was okay, but the movie sucked. And like I said, the Bee Gees. I prefer the Bee Gees doing the singing and stuff, all behind the mic instead of in front of the camera. You know what I mean? Did you like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club, the movie?
I turned it off. I just couldn't deal with it. I was about maybe 15 minutes in, and I was like, nope.
And you were probably pretty young at that age too, weren't you?
No, it wasn't that long. It was maybe like 10 years ago.
Yeah, well, I seen when it in the theaters. I wasn't leaving without my popcorn, so but that was something I could have done better by watching Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, and that came out around the same time. So if you remember that movie? Yep.
With Steve Martin. Yeah.
Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. Yeah, so that was about that time that movie came out. So they put it out there. But no, it wasn't much to be desired. So I'd like to say good morning to Bedford, and you guys have a beautiful day and enjoy your weekend. And
you as well.
God bless all you, and you stay out of trouble, Playboy.
No promises, but I'll do my best.
If you get in trouble, give me a call. Let's see if I can bail you out.
All right, thank you, Lamone.
If you were here, it'd be a difference. Like I said, but I wouldn't get you and let you get in trouble.
All right,
let's go to Sedona. All right,
you have a good weekend.
God bless everybody. Enjoy your weekend.
That is Lamone in Las Vegas. And, every Friday when I was in high school, I had Mr. McCurtain, who is one of my mentors growing up, my best friend's dad, and spent a lot of time hanging out at his house. But he was also my AP English teacher. And every Friday, he would give us the same advice before the bell rang. He would say, have a good weekend, stay safe, stay out of trouble. And if you can't stay out of trouble, run real fast. If you see that blue light special coming after you, you're not at Kmart. So that was what he said every Friday. And I still think of it pretty much every Friday. 508-996-0500. If you want to call in and chime in, you can also send in app chat messages on the open line voicemails on the WBSM app. Sketty says, good morning, Tim. I noticed at times Joe Biden's voice would get really low. And I was like, okay, this is where he's going to be rambling on, stumbling over his words. I think he does trail off a little bit in the way that he presents. And, as somebody who talks for a living and doesn't like the way that I speak, I probably overanalyze people's speech patterns and the way that they talk and the way that they project and the way that they deliver. One thing that I always pride myself on is if I show up and do one of my lectures, my library presentations that I do, or, to different schools or civic bodies or whatever, I always will say, unless it's a really big hall, I don't need a microphone. That I can project. And that I can keep an even modulation to my voice, an even volume level the whole time. Sometimes I might, trail off a little bit if I'm kind of making a joke or something. But I generally am able to project. Because that's one of those things that bothers me is when you hear people who lose the modulation, the volume of their voice. So I pick up on it when people do it. And I think when I'm watching Joe Biden do it, I'm thinking that's kind of like when he is not reading directly, but trying to finish the sentence. But I don't think he went really off the rails too much. I think it was more There were a few fumbles that I was like, wait, what? Hold on, what's he talking about here? But I think that's going to happen in any State of the Union speech. I can remember, watching them back to Bill Clinton is when I first started watching them. When I would have to, watch them in school so we could talk about it the next day in current events, social studies class. And I won't say I've seen everyone, but I've seen most of them since then. And there's always a few moments where I'm like, okay, we're getting, a little too in the weeds here. We're getting a little off the rails. But I don't think there was a whole bunch of that last night. The part about talking about taking your prescriptions on Air Force One, I don't know where that was going. Neither did Mike Johnson, based on the look on his face behind Joe Biden. And even Kamala Harris was like, what? But she's like, just keep smiling. But there were a few little things like that, but no overall major gaffes. But again, it's a rehearsed speech. They've spent days, if not weeks, working on this speech. So I think, and also a speech like this is on the teleprompter. So you're going to have less likely to have fumbles on the teleprompter. That goes for anybody. So I don't know. I've only had to work off a teleprompter myself a few times, but I always give people credit for being able to do it. I don't know that I could, because I like to look at the audience when I'm doing something. I need to gauge their reactions because I feed off that energy. And I'm sure there's been plenty of times I've walked into a library and the crowd has been down and, that's brought down my energy level. That maybe if I wasn't looking at them and I was just focusing on, say, what was on the screen or whatever, I'd probably be more energetic. But I feed off the crowd in those situations. So I give people credit for being able to read. I was talking about SNL with Phil Devitt a little while ago, and that's another thing. I don't know how they do that. How do you act and perform but also read off the cue cards? That's something that, and you can tell when, now that we have HD TVs, you can tell when people are looking at the cue cards instead of looking at their fellow actors or whatever. Speaking of SNL, that's the question that I have, is which SNL performer is going to portray Katie Britt in the obvious sketch that is coming up on Saturday night. Probably the cold open. Is it going to be Heidi Gardner or is it going to be Chloe Fineman? I can make the argument for either one. And for those of you who are like, I don't watch SNL because it's just too political, they've really gone more broad with the humor and the caricatures of the people in politics. I love James Austin Johnson's Trump impersonation. It is not mean-spirited. It's not... listen, I will agree. Alec Baldwin was very mean-spirited about the way he portrayed Trump. But James Austin Johnson's is just funny. And I think even Donald Trump would watch it and be like, yeah, I see the humor in that. He just basically does stream of consciousness, runs down the list of all the things he wants to talk about and wraps it all. It's very funny, very entertaining. And they portray Joe Biden as a confused old man. So it's not the way people portray it as. And of course, people who are like, oh, SNL hasn't been funny since the 70s. It's a general rule of thumb. Everybody thinks SNL was the funniest it's ever been when they were in high school. And everything after that is not as good. I see the good and the bad of each season, of each episode, of each cast. And there's been a lot of good, funny moments this year. There's been a lot of misses, too. Anyway, 508-996-0500. Got to take a quick break here, and we'll be back in just a few moments. So whether you're just getting started today or whether you're thinking about heading out in a little while, or if you're looking for a place to go and have some breakfast this weekend, check out Just Another Phoenix Restaurant on Fons Corner Road in North Dartmouth, because that's where they have creative, unique specials, especially on the weekends. Things that you never would have imagined. Last weekend, they had s'mores French toast. I wish I had gone out for some s'mores French toast. Probably would have taken me 2 days to finish it, but I have decided in recent years that s'mores is one of my favorite flavor combinations. S'mores French toast they had, and who knows what they're going to come up with for this weekend. You can find out by following Just Another Phoenix on their Facebook page, or just stop on in. If you don't have time to sit down and have a breakfast inside, you can take their food to go. You don't even need to get out of the car. You can pull right up to their drive-up window, place your order, pick up your food, and go on with your day and have a full, delicious Just Another Phoenix breakfast no matter where you're going, whether it be to school or to the office or even back home, wherever it may be. You can take their delicious food with you. So check out Just Another Phoenix, located on Fons Corner Road in North Dartmouth. It's just a little bit past the sheriff's office on the same side, a little bit down the road from, well, now it's Health Tracks, but we used to call it the VF Outlet. You know, back in those days, man, I could have used the VF Outlet right now. But anyway, try something new, try something unique, or get one of your favorites at Just Another Phoenix Restaurant, Fons Corner Road in North Dartmouth. All right, it is time now to go into the newsroom and get all the headlines of the day with Phil Devitt.
Biden talks the border in his State of the Union, a possible source of the huge wildfire in Texas, and TikTok fans hope time isn't running out.
From the WBSM Newsroom, this is WBSM News.
President Biden is calling on Congress to pass a bipartisan border deal negotiated by a group of senators.
This bill would save lives and bring order to the border. It will also give me and any new president new emergency authority to temporarily shut down the border when the number of migrants at the border is overwhelming.
During his State of the Union address, Biden called it the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen, prompting boos from GOP lawmakers. The president also referred to Laken Riley, the Georgia nursing student who was killed on the campus of University of Georgia by an illegal immigrant. He claimed the bill would save lives and bring order to the border. Republicans killed the deal, arguing it doesn't go far enough to stop the flow of migrants. Alabama Senator Katie Britt is delivering the Republican response to Biden's State of the Union.
One thing was quite clear, though. President Biden just doesn't get it. He's out of touch.
While speaking from Montgomery, Alabama, she said Americans deserve a leader who isn't, quote, dithering and diminished. She said the nation needs a leader who recognizes that secure borders, stable prices, and safe streets are the cornerstones of a great nation. The first-term Alabama Republican is the youngest woman in the Senate. U.S. Capitol Police say they arrested a Gold Star father for heckling Biden during the address. The man's son was a Marine killed along with 12 other service members and 170 civilians in a suicide attack during the withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. The utility that provides power to the Texas Panhandle is investigating whether their equipment may be the source of what has become the largest wildfire in state history. There have been several lawsuits filed over the Smokehouse Creek fire that point to a downed power line. In a statement, Xcel Energy said it appears its facilities were involved in the ignition of the fire, but the company disputes claims that they're negligent in maintaining their power lines. The trial of a Michigan father charged in connection with a deadly school shooting carried out by his teenage son continues, but James Crumbley's communications from jail have now been limited to only his lawyer. He's accused of making threats from behind bars as he stands trial for involuntary manslaughter in the 2021 Oxford High School shooting. Who Crumbley allegedly made threats against is not clear. And TikTok users are flooding members of Congress with calls urging them to oppose a bill that could ultimately ban the social media app in the U.S. Brian Shook with more.
TikTok launched a new campaign warning the Chinese-owned app was at risk of being shut down over national security concerns. TikTok then directed users to call their representative in Congress and tell them to vote no on the bill. This after the House Energy and Commerce Committee Thursday unanimously advanced a bill that would require TikTok's parent company ByteDance to divest from the app or face a ban in America. I'm Brian Shook.
WBSM Sports. Brought to you by Sparks Auto in Dartmouth.
The Boston Bruins swept their season series against the Maple Leafs after earning a 4-1 victory at TD Garden. Boston hosts the Pittsburgh Penguins tomorrow afternoon. The Celtics now have dropped back-to-back games after falling to the Denver Nuggets 115-109. They visit the Phoenix Suns Saturday night, and the Boston Red Sox take on the Tampa Bay Rays in spring training Saturday night.
Now, your ABC6 South Coast forecast.
Good to be with you, everybody, on this Friday morning. We're wrapping up the work week with plenty of sunshine, but it'll only be until this afternoon. This morning, a few clouds. The temperature will be in the mid-40s. The wind will be picking up this afternoon. Overnight, it dies down a little bit, and as we head into tomorrow, clouds will rain. Gusty winds overnight tomorrow into Sunday, 45 to 50 miles per hour. Be sure to watch ABC6 for my full 7-day forecast. From the ABC6 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Ceci Del Carmen on New Bedford's News Talk Station 1420 WBSM.
And just a reminder, clocks move ahead an hour this weekend on Sunday. I'm Phil Devitt for WBSM News. Stay up to date with New Bedford's News Talk Station WBSM and get all of our content and breaking news alerts with the WBSM app.
All right, it is time to check in with Eric over at the Butcher Shop and find out about all the great things they have going on, getting you ready for the weekend. Good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
Hey, what's going on? How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing all right. I'm already thinking about my corned beef and cabbage next weekend.
Oh, yeah, brother. That's coming. Next week we'll have it, that's for sure.
I'm assuming you're already getting people putting their orders in?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we're going to have it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 4 days of it.
So you'll have it not only for people to be able to buy it and bring it home, are you going to be preparing it too?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah. See? So you can save yourself the... A lot of people love to eat it, but they complain about how long it takes. They want to be able to just dig right in and eat it, and by getting it at the butcher shop, they don't have to wait.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. If you don't want to waste the time, you come in and get it from us, man. We make it nice, so Portuguese style, pretty much.
Oh, what's Portuguese style? How's that different?
Well, we stick some chorizo in it.
Ooh, I like that.
It's a little bit of a twist on it, but it's nice, man. People like it. We sell a lot of it.
So what do you have going on this weekend? What can people come in and get?
I got nice fillets, man. I got nice ribeyes. I got the tomahawks, like always, like usual. I got spare ribs. I got everything, anything you need, man. I got burgers already. I got chorizo hanging. I got nice fish. Today's Lent, fried fish today. A lot of fish going on, codfish, everything.
And I like to stress to people, too, the important thing about when you go to the butcher shop, it's not like you guys are slicing everything and saying, here you go. You're cutting it the way people want it, the way they want to bring it home and prepare it for their families.
Yeah, I cut it to size. Like if it's a husband and wife, the wife wants it a little thinner, the husband wants it a little thicker. I cut it however they want. I do whatever they want.
And that's the kind of personal touch that you guys do with everything you do over there at the butcher shop.
All right, man. Thanks, bro. Yeah, I appreciate that. You're right.
All right, and what do you got cooking up today that we can come in and grab for lunch?
I got prime rib, I got barbecue chickens, I got codfish, I got fried fish, I got smelts, I got sardines, a lot of stuff, and we got octopus, a lot of stuff people can't get anywhere.
There you go. All right, so stop on by the Butcher Shop, 123 Dartmouth Street in New Bedford. Not only can you get all that great food, you can do all your shopping there. It's a real old-school neighborhood feel, that neighborhood market. You guys do a great job over there. Eric, have a great weekend. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot to ask you. What are you having this weekend?
I'm going to have a celebrity pork chop today, man.
Yeah, there you go. All right, sounds great. Well, we will talk to you next week, and you have a good week.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you.
All right, that is Eric over at the Butcher Shop, 123 Dartmouth Street in New Bedford. Stop on by, get yourself something delicious, and make sure you get your order in for your corned beef. Ooh, Portuguese style. Listen, I pride myself in making my corned beef and cabbage. I think I'm just going to go to the Butcher Shop this year and have them do it for me. Because for one thing, it keeps the house from having that smell the whole day long that just teases me. And then I try to go in there and take it before it's ready. And then I've started doing it in the Instant Pot, which is, a lot faster. It only takes an hour and a half to cook the whole meal. But then I'm trying to open it too early so I can get into it. So I'm just going to go pick it up and have it already made. Then I can dive right in. Don't have to tease myself with it for hours. I love corned beef and cabbage. 508-996-0500. Good morning. You're next on WBSM.
Morning, Tim. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I watched the State of the Union last night, and well, I'll tell you what. It was pretty much what I expected to see because it was very well prepared. it was definitely divisive. You know, no doubt about that. If you're a Biden fan, you got what you wanted because he's going to, he's telling you everything that he wants you to hear. Or they. I'm going to use the term they because it was definitely prepared, like you said, over at least days, if not weeks, that they had him preparing for that. The way I see it, the thing that he stresses his points. He comes out banging and screaming and to make his points, and he's and you know what? It looks good. He does make his points. He drives his points home to his, to the people that believe him. But I didn't believe him personally. First of all, on some of the points that he made, and you got to admit this. He's yelling and screaming about the border and about the fentanyl and the trafficking and all this stuff. He's making these talking points about all this stuff. Give me the support to close the borders. Where was all this talk 3 years ago? This talk isn't new. This isn't new, Tim. This has been for 3 solid years or more. The Republican side has been yelling and screaming for that border to be closed. And I don't want to harp on the fact that it was closed. I mean, it wasn't closed, obviously.
And I'm going to say that's a big reason why he was getting booed by the Republicans during that portion of the speech.
It was very little booing going on. I will say one thing: the Republicans they keep their track shut. For the most part, if you really look back on it, there was only a couple of different points where the Republicans, kind of got up in arms, and it was about the border. You're right. One of the points was the border, and you can't blame them because the Republicans have and everybody. I mean, I'm forget the fact that whether I'm Republican, I'm independent, but I lean to the right. But we've been thinking this way since I voted for Trump, and my fear was the border when Biden got elected. He was given the opportunity to continue on with Trump's policies, to keep return to Mexico, and he chose not to. He signed executive orders the minute he was elected and put into office. But he signed those orders to open the borders, and he made it sound like they give me the power to close these borders. He's had the power. He can still use those executive orders to reclose those borders. He had that power for 3 years. And that's another reason that the Republicans booed him. And if you notice, the speaker right behind him was shaking his head. The optics of that speech last night was incredible. I've never seen anything like it. It was where you saw Kamala Harris stand up and the speaker would stay seated. The only time the speaker stood up was when they were talking about I think it was Lewis. When they were giving him props.
Yeah, I think he got up a few times, but it was usually like talking about people that were in the audience or about an issue. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't Joe Biden talking about his policies or his accomplishments that Mike Johnson was standing up for.
I did hear you mention, and I'm only going to touch on this. I didn't catch the beginning of the show, but you mentioned about Marjorie Taylor Greene's hat and being campaign type paraphernalia or whatever. Let's face it. Joe Biden came in and he spoke for what they say 67, 68 minutes, whatever the number was. I'm going to venture a guess to say a good at least 75, 80% of that was nothing but a campaign speech.
Oh, I mean, sure. I mean, it always is an election year, no matter who the president is. But that's different than showing up actually wearing campaign paraphernalia, in which I believe that there are, rules against that for the decorum of the House. And all I was saying is, she just might face a little something for having done that, but I'm sure she expected that.
I just missed the fact. I just missed that. The State of the Union, and you're right. You do see this no matter what. But the State of the Union should have been exactly that, the State of the Union. He had nothing positive to say about the State of the Union. I don't know what they're talking about, when they start talking about the economy. And he loves bringing up this shrinkflation. If you know anything about that particular term, Howie Carr's been using that term shrinkflation for, at least a year or two that I know of.
Well, the term has been around for a long time.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's in so much as this in regards to our economy now. And the fact is, it's not. This problem doesn't fall on the businesses, which he's trying to let the people think. He's going after the big corporations, to solve this shrinkflation. The problem is the economy. It's trickled down. The truckers have to charge more money to get these, the food and supplies to these businesses, which in turn has to turn around and charge it to the customers. It's simple. It's simple economics.
I may be wrong on this. I'd have to go back and watch that portion, but I think Biden's point about the companies was less about the actual economics of it all and more about what he felt was the lack of transparency about things. So it wasn't about the fact that they had to make, less chips for more money. It's the fact that they were being deceptive in their practices about it. I think that was kind of what I was listening in. But again, I probably wasn't paying full attention at that point.
Well, he may be deceptive in the way he's putting it out there too. But my point being, I think he's trying to pull wool over the American people's eyes and making them think that the entire problem with this shrinkflation is the fact that the corporations are trying to take advantage of the American people, when in fact they are. They may be so because that's what corporations do. They try to make money, but they're forced. Their hand has been forced by this economy, and the economy is a direct result of the Biden administration over the past 3 years.
I do want to ask you one quick question before, and then I got to take a break here. But going back to what we were talking about with the border, so you were saying, Joe Biden's had the ability to shut down the border. If that's the case, and that's something that's always had, what's the downside? Why are Republicans against putting this border bill into effect? Why are they holding out on this if it's supposed to be things that were already in effect?
Well, it seems to me that what they want to do is put all these more people on the border, but it seems to be all clerical, or it doesn't seem to be they're going to put anybody to enforce the flow of migrants coming through.
Oh no, they're going to put more guard. They're going to put more border guards on the border. They're going to have more screening for drugs coming in. They're going to have more judges to be able to hear these cases faster, and they're going to try to expedite the process, which are all things you would think that the Republicans would be for if they didn't have Donald Trump in their ear telling them don't vote for this. That's where I think is the biggest issue, because he doesn't want it to be solved before he gets a chance to be in there.
I will say that last night was the first time, and I've been listening for a long time, the first time that I heard those mentioned. Those are absolutely are good points. To have those types of advantages would make a big difference. But it's the first time I heard of those. All I ever heard of was clerical people to process paperwork.
Yeah, I mean,
so
those factors have been mentioned, but it's just like you're saying, it's how people have portrayed as to what would actually be the case.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Tim. I appreciate the opportunity to speak out.
All right, you have a great day. And
thanks, you too. Bye.
I will take some more calls here, 508-996-0500, but I've got to take a break right here. We'll be back in a few moments. I found my way back to Crispy Crunchy Chicken at Gas Express in New Bedford at the corner of Tarkin Hill Road and Belleville Avenue. I found my way back there yesterday afternoon, and I had the chicken sandwich option for the first time. I tried the bone-in chicken multiple times. Love the bone-in chicken. I had the boneless tenders. Love those two. The original sauce is my favorite to dip it in. But I hadn't had the chicken sandwich yet. So I was looking for a quick meal to have on my way home yesterday. On my way to bowling yesterday, because, I eat at the bowling alley a lot of times on Thursday nights, but I want to have dinner taken care of beforehand. So I didn't have to keep going back and forth, between the alley and between the lane and the counter to sit there and eat my food. So I was like, I'm going to eat ahead of time. So I stopped at Crispy Crunchy Chicken and I got the chicken sandwich. It's $5.99. So it's already cheaper than chicken sandwiches are at most of the fast food places, and it was delicious. And what I found interesting about it is it's Cajun spiced, but it's got a little bit more kick than the boneless tenders or the bone-in chicken. A little bit more kick, I found. And it's got the pickles on it. I mean, it's the way that a Cajun chicken sandwich should be served. It's not too spicy, but it had definitely some spice to it. Delicious. I had that with some macaroni and cheese. I was going to get one of the honey biscuits because I usually can't say no to those, but it was the bread I figured was enough carbs for me. So I got that whole meal, cost me about $8, filled me up for the rest of the night. So check out Crispy Crunchy Chicken at Gas Express in New Bedford at the corner of Tarkin Hill Road and Belleville Avenue. Stop in. They're open from 11 to 8 Sunday through Thursday and until 10 on the weekends. And, of course, you can also get it via Got You, DoorDash, and Uber Eats. All right, let's take a quick call here before I got to take my final break. Good morning. You're next on WBSM.
Good morning, Tim. The border.
Yes.
Biden pulled what he does throughout the whole speech, throughout his whole presidency. He blames either Trump or the Republicans for what he has deliberately, screwed up. He totally undid all the policies that were working. We did not have this level of problem in all cities across the nation until his first day when he undid it. The problem is they were trying to get him to undo those policies. All the mayors through all the land were screaming, this is not helping, So he refused to back down. He was like, I am flooding this nation, period. And then since May, going on one solid year, there has been a House bill passed by the House to undo this mess. And he will not take it up. They will not take it up in the Senate. Am I here?
Yeah. No, you're on.
Oh, I thought I hung up on myself because this infuriates me because long before the mayors, black mayors throughout the land in inner cities that are dealing with this issue, before they made a scream of it, I was screaming with you and Marcus and everyone. I said, this is not sustainable. And I was called racist. And you guys don't know who I married or who my children are or who my friends are. So it was actually comical, or who my immigrant friends are. But it's the illegal immigration and the bill that they proposed, nearly a year after the bill that would have solved the problem. The Senate's bill is basically saying we want the House to co-sign that we can continue to do what we are doing, but do it at a faster rate. All the funding they want, their answer to everything is more money. They want more people on the border, but not to stop the invasion. They want it to facilitate the process quicker. So people need to make that distinction and go look for themselves the bill that's sitting there getting dusty from a year ago. Everyone is having a problem with this now. Right. Our governor is saying it's $1 billion a year, and that's what she's admitting to. We don't know really how much it will end up being, and they still won't stop it. So,
all right, I got to just hold you there because I got one break I got to take here before the end, but thank you for the call. You have a good weekend.
You too.
And I do have to take that break. We'll be right back.